Hey loves, this is Lena's Obsession, and today I'll be showing you all my routine for applying my foundation, highlighting, and contouring. Well, since I wanted this video to mainly focus on how I do my face makeup, I did my eyes and my eyebrows off camera, and now I'm prepping my face for my makeup application with a regular primer and Milk of Magnesia because honestly, it's the only thing that keeps me matte all day. So I need it in my life, period. So the foundation that I'm currently loving and probably will be just loving all throughout the future is the Fenty Beauty's Pro Filt'r foundation in 410. I really love this foundation. And I'm not just saying it because it's Rihanna, even though I do love her. This is the best foundation I've ever used. Ever since I started using her foundation and her highlighters, it's just really upped the way my makeup looks, and I like it a lot. As you've probably noticed, I like to make the little dots, except mine are like smears. I like to do that before I buff my foundation out with a brush, simply because I find when I just put a brush on a gob of product, it just sinks into my brush. So I feel like I waste a lot of product doing it. So I try to work it with my fingers as best I can before I use a brush. When buffing out your foundation, you definitely want to make sure you get your neck under your chin. At least that's what I do. Like, I obsess over that. Your neck, under your chin, just the perimeters of your face, your hairline, because even if your foundation is a nice color for you or a good match, if you stop at those edges of your face, it's going to look like you're wearing a mask. So blending is the biggest thing when it comes to makeup. I mean, of course, makeup overall, but especially for my face makeup. I know you can blend with a brush or a sponge. I choose to do a brush then a sponge because each one has pros and cons. A brush gives me fuller coverage. A sponge, it gives me even coverage, but if I were to just use a sponge, it would shear it out a lot. So using both is perfect. So my favorite concealer to highlight with is the MAC Pro Longwear concealer in the color NC45. For a highlighting concealer, you just want to pick a shade that's about, 2 to 3 shades lighter than your regular foundation. I'm using this to just bring certain parts of my face forward that I want to bring attention to and create the illusion of height. So the areas I focus on when I'm highlighting are my chin, my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and the area under my eye. So with my damp beauty blender, I'm just going to blend out all of that highlighting concealer. I definitely focus on directly under my eye and in the crevices on both sides of my nostrils. I find that if you skip over that or do not hit that thoroughly enough, it will get built up with product and look cakey. So with my MAC Studio Fix Powder in the shade NC45, which is the same color as my concealer, I set all my concealed areas simply because I like to bake because I'm really oily and I like to bake for a long time. And I find that if I set my concealer with a pressed powder first, that I don't get any white areas when I try to sweep my baking powder away, which is really important. So with my L'Oreal pressed powder in the shade C8, I'm just going to lightly bronze or contour my face. This paired with highlighting is just going to give my face that sculpted look. So for this step, I like to use an angled fluffy brush, and the motion that I'm using to contour my cheeks is just following the line that is between the top of my ear and the corner of my mouth, and just doing a sweeping motion with that brush. For greater precision, I contour my nose with an eyeshadow smudger brush, and then to buff out that harsh line, I use a eyeshadow blending brush. With a fluffy powder brush, I'm just going over all of my contoured or bronzed areas. For some reason, I'm just not into strong contours anymore, which is one reason why, I mean, maybe at night I will, but that's one of the major reasons why I switched from cream to powder. So buffing this out just gives me more of a bronzed look versus a contoured look. To bake, I'm using my Ben Nye Luxury Powder and the shade Banana. Baking is essential to me. It used to be a once in a while thing, but once I learned to set my concealer first, now I bake all the time. You don't have to bake for as long as I do. I bake for 20 minutes, and that's just because I'm super oily. And the longer I bake, the longer I pretty much stay matte all day. But yeah, I need to be able to bake. So with my Lower Mercier translucent powder in the shade Deep, I'm baking the area underneath my contour as well as my smile lines. I used to use the Ben Nye banana powder for this, but I found over the years that when I use any kind of brightening or light powder underneath my contour, it tends to make me look really white in that area, and I'm not a fan of that at all. As for my smile lines, I find that when I bake them, it takes the fine lines around my mouth that look like parentheses longer to settle in. So it's been 20 minutes, and with my flat top e.l.f. powder brush, I'm now gonna wipe away both powders. Going back in with that same powder I used to set my concealer with my tapered brush, I'm just going to dust a little bit of that powder over my baking areas. I don't get white, like stubborn white spots because I set my concealer before I bake, but considering how long I do bake for, just this step helps to add color back into those areas. Considering the fact that I'm not a blush girl at all, this blush is actually perfect for me. It's the MAC Sweetest Cocoa. I just really like it because it's not too pink and it's really toned down. To apply this, I usually just smile and apply it to the apples of my cheek. Although I'm not too big on blush, I'm a huge highlighter fan, and I honestly tend to have a heavy hand when it comes to highlighter. Right here, I'm using one of my favorites, which is the Fenty Beauty's KILLAWATT Freestyle Highlighter in Hustler Baby. And I'm just applying this on the highest points of my face, such as my cheekbones, my brow bones, the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow. And I like to, throw some on my chin. I don't do it all the time, but if I want to be, like, really highlighted, then I do, like, my chin. So with Fenty Beauty's Trophy Wife, I just lightly dust over all the areas that I put Hustler Baby. I told y'all I kind of, you know, I'm a little extra when it comes to highlighter. I don't think I'm crazy extra, but I mean, I do feel like compelled to do it. Like I told myself I would keep it minimal this video. As you can see, it did not work. I just love highlighter, and I especially love the way Trophy Wife looks when layered on to other highlighters, especially Hustler Baby. I don't really like wearing this highlighter by itself, but I think it looks beautiful over other highlighters. Here I'm just going to be smoking my lower lash line out with the color Hunts from the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I'll also be using my Stila smudge pot to line my lower waterline off camera. So I could literally talk about how good Bosch's white charcoal setting spray has been good to me, but for time's sake I can't. But this spray is very oily girl friendly. It stops oil from peeking through. It melts all of your powders and all of your makeup together to make you look seamless, but it also instantly mattifies your face, and I use it to touch up my makeup throughout the day as well. Even though I wear false lashes, I still apply at least one coat of mascara, which this is my favorite mascara ever. They're Real by Benefit. It can make anyone look like they have long, full lashes. Here I'm just applying my falsies as well as lining my lips with MAC's Cork lip liner, as well as applying my lip gloss off camera. Well, that's it, you guys. I really hope you all enjoyed my first talk through video. I was actually pretty nervous about this because I know I talk so much and I talk so fast, and I wanted to avoid being all of the above for video purposes, but that is my routine for applying my foundation as well as highlighting and contouring my face. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.